Morning, everybody.
Morning.
There we go. Sorry, my microphone wasn't on. Or my speakers, I should say. There we go. I can hear you. Okay, quick update on where everything stands as of yesterday. Get my notes up here really quick. As you've probably seen, they finished all the walkable paths of sidewalk on all of the blocks of Ashland, and they also finished the concrete for all the landscaping features on the mid block of Ashland, seemingly completing all of the concrete work that needed to take place in this phase. I know they were out fixing a few concrete failures last couple of days. There was just one. There was one panel there right in the middle of the mid block of Ashland that had a crack in it, and then just a few areas on the curb as well that had some failures. So before our walkthrough on Friday, they actually found those, got out and fixed them quickly, which saves us a lot of time and hopefully keeps everything on schedule. Last week, we began the final electrical work, which included streetlights being installed. They're not powered yet as they're still pulling wires for all of those. And then all of the sidewalk paver installations on that mid block of Ashland was completed last week. This week, they're wrapping up all the final concrete work and any of the failures that they had. Should start some plantings here this week. I know the trees were delivered yesterday, and I believe they intend to get those in the ground here at the tail end of this week, maybe even Saturday, if not early next week. And then we're continuing all the final electrical work and hoping to have those streetlights powered. I believe by the end of the day, if not the end of tomorrow, but here in the next couple of days, to get everybody's streetlights back up in those blocks. The pavement striping will take place tomorrow. That's what we're scheduled to do, and that'll include all the street signage being installed. And then we are doing our final punch list walk on Friday. And I mentioned this last week. That's really going to be what determines when we're able to open this to the public. If there's not anything major that comes up on that punch list walk, we are aiming for late next week to have this all open back up to the public. Again, it's just really going to depend on Friday if we find anything major that could delay it just a little bit, because they'll need to get those items fixed. But I'm also pretty confident that at this point we shouldn't find anything too major. So with that, then next week they're going to finish all the electrical work, including all the GFCI receptacles that need to be installed near the the trees, excuse me. Regardless of what happens with anything on the punch list, they did say that they will have the sidewalk fence down on October 27th. I know we've got a couple of events coming up on the square next Friday and Saturday, so they do intend to have that fence down before those events. And then the final landscaping is going to really take place next week. That's going to mainly be the plantings and all the flower beds and all of that stuff. You're just going to see the perennial plantings at this point. They're going to go in, and we're still able to get those installed, but those should be good, and we hope to get those in next week. And then really all we're still waiting on is just the final sod and seeding, mainly around the Justice Center, to be completed. Mention the punch list, whatever we find on that walkthrough, those will be items that'll be completed. Once those are completed, mentioned we're going to have the roads open to traffic. And then on alley construction, we're still kind of waiting final decision on when that's going to start. If it does start here yet this year, it's probably, I would say maybe 3-4 weeks out before we start anything. And again, it's going to be that east alley that comes first. That's the one behind Regions Bank, kind of on the other side of City Hall here. But that will be the one that starts there. And then again, they'll go clockwise around, going south, west, and then north being the final one. So yeah, I think for everybody on this call, again, it's really going to be, when is this going to be over? When are we going to have everything back open? And like I said, we'll know more on Friday. We'll get something out on Friday once we do know more, pinpointing the end of next week. But again, if anything major comes up, it could push into the week after. So With that, I think we can take any questions if there are any.
Hi, Charlie. This is Brandy.
Hey.
The only thing I have is there was a corner, and I just noticed it like yesterday or the day before, a corner of my step on the concrete piece. I don't know how to really describe it, is missing. So I don't know if it like broke out when they were doing the sidewalk right there at the building.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. That's one of the things we'll do on the punch list is we check building conditions going through that. But thanks for letting me know. I'll make sure that we take a look at that. Yeah, I don't want to say anything until I see it, because I know they still have to do the contractor. Once we get the sidewalk in, one of the items they need to do is a lot of caulking around buildings too, just to make sure water doesn't get in. I know they haven't done that. Thankfully, that's most likely going to be something that gets put on the punch list. That can be done with traffic open though at the same time, so that's not going to delay anything. But yeah, thanks for letting me know. I know I see Tanner's on here as well too, so if Tanner, if you're out there, just take a look at that as well.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning. This is Ryan Ellis.
Hey, Ryan.
I was curious if you're going to, if you guys are going to restripe our parking lot when this is all done, or how that's working.
Yep. So the plan on that parking lot would be to get it restriped. However, IMU still has the project that they're going to be doing on that northern alley there. That's not part of the downtown project, but their underground project where they're putting all the electrical lines underground, I believe is set to start next year at some point too. So we're not going to restripe that parking lot until that is completed. But once that is completed, we will get it restriped and have the angles put back to where they were, because we actually talked through this one quite a bit, leaving it as is or putting those angles back. But ultimately, we want to have just that one-way traffic going through your parking lot, because it does help the traffic flow on Ashland. So long story short, yeah, we will get it restriped. It's not going to take place right away, because that northern portion of that alley is going to be closed at some point.
Okay, appreciate that.
Yep, no problem. If nothing else, the only other thing I want to point out, Brenda and I have talked about this, but we are planning on doing some sort of ribbon cutting ceremony when we are set to get everything open. Again, we're really waiting to find out Friday kind of what that schedule is going to be, but we'll try to get that information out as soon as we can once we have that determined. But I kind of think our thought initially is that it would be something where we do the ceremony and then pretty much right thereafter we have the streets reopened to the public. So just trying to work through all those details, but we'll try to get some stuff out here either the tail end of Friday or early next week on Monday about those details. And Brenda, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that or not, but
no, I think it's sort of up in the air at this point. We really can't send invites out until
yeah.
we know when we can do that.
But needless to say, we are in the last week to 2 weeks of this project. Hopefully the last week, but again, we'll find out on Friday and we'll communicate everything out once we know.
It's hard to believe that we're at that point, and it's very exciting.
It's cold out there too.
It sure is.
Once it's 23 degrees right now. So yeah, I think they want to be done just as much as we want them to be done. So
yep.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, as usual, reach out. Hopefully this is maybe the second to last one of these that we're doing. But we'll see everybody next week. Maybe that's the last time I'll say that.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.